Welcome to the new YouTube channel. If you haven't already done it, hit the subscribe button to follow us all season long for updates and content. So happy that you're here. It's going to be a great year.
We got to talk about your San Francisco 49ers. I mean, we already talked about it last podcast. Tough loss against the Vikings. But even tougher today, as we just got news that Deebo Samuel is going to be sidelined with an injured calf. You pair this with the loss of CMC, who is now on IR. And Richard, you kind of hinted at it a little bit. We've seen it in the past in football and in the NBA. Calf strains are not to be messed with. You can vouch for that 1,000 times over. Kevin Durant played in the NBA Finals with a calf strain. We saw what happened there. When you play with calf strains, Richard, you can take it away, but CMC is putting himself at risk of an Achilles injury, and that's why it looks like they put him on IR. Richard, what is your panic meter at right now with the San Francisco 49ers? They look a little bit vulnerable with these injuries.
It's still 6, Mitchell, only because I feel comfortable and fingers crossed, knock on wood and all that stuff. You know, they're going to play a Rams team that had a really difficult time with the Arizona Cardinals. They're really banged up on the offensive line. I'm hoping that this can get the San Francisco D-line on track, Javon Hargrave and those boys to start to get pressure and be able to get home a little bit. Matthew Stafford isn't moving a lot in that pocket. Cooper Kupp is a little banged up. Their receiving core is banged up. Kyron Williams isn't having the same start to the season as he had last year. So there's a number of things that's working in San Francisco's favor. Jordan Mason has been a revelation in this offense. It would have been nice to say, hey, maybe this is Ricky Purcell, but they were forced to put him on the IR with the incident of him being robbed and being shot. And, you know, thank goodness he's okay and he pulled through and he looks like he's going to be ready to go very soon after the bye week. But this is going to be a chance. This is going to be a chance for Brandon Ayuk to shine. Brandon Ayuk and Brock Purdy, this is going to be, Cal's going to have very little choice but to draw up plays for Brandon Ayuk to showcase his abilities, to put pressure on this defense, and really push the ball down the field. They're going to have to push the ball down the field this game to Kittle, and they're going to have to find a third. They're going to have to push it to BA, to Kittle, and they're going to have to find somebody else to get open. Is it going to be Juwan Jennings? Because he's shown up in very critical situations in these first 2 ball games, as he has in the past. Is he going to be a bigger presence in this game? I would expect so. On the flip side, this is a good chance for All-Pro Fred to continue his Defensive Player of the Year campaign that started off incredibly strong. He's doing a great job himself, and it's time for everybody else to meet him where he's at. You know, Nicholas John Bosa had 2 sacks in the ball game last week. We need more from everybody. This should be a dominant performance from this defense, and that's what they're going to need with the injuries on offense. You got to lean on your defense, and it's incredibly talented. The 2 corners, Diamador Lenore and Charvarius Ward, Mooney, they're doing a great job. I think Talanoa Hufanga has a chance to come back this week, and he's going to, I'm sure, put his imprint on this game, and I'm hoping that that's enough to get them over the top. This game is in Levi South, is what they call that stadium, Mitchell, in LA. They call it Levi South because it is usually pretty goddamn packed with San Francisco 49ers fans and not as many Los Angeles Rams fans, even though they were able to win a world championship just a few years ago in this same stadium. SoFi has not been filled up with Rams fans, but I think Deebo will be fine. I hope, knock on wood again, that, this is just a strain, and I've had calf strains that's just calf strains. You have calf strains that feel more Achilles-ish, but they're saying calf strain. I'm going to believe them that this is just a calf strain, and, usually it happens when it's dehydration and muscle, and hopefully it's just a grade 1, and, he just needs to rest it for a few days, maybe a week, and then he'll have a chance to get back out there, and it's nothing more serious than that.
Well, and you kind of touched on it too. If he's going to miss a couple games, he might as well miss these next few. I mean, the Rams are limping into this game without Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, and then you got the Patriots at home after that. So, these are not necessarily guaranteed losses for this team without Deebo. I expect the San Francisco 49ers to come out on top even without him. But Fortunately for them, they're able to get him right and move forward as the season progresses. Another team dealing with the injury bug, and this one in a big way. The LA Rams have now lost Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and several offensive line starters. Richard, this team is now 0-2, 2 huge losses. I mean, one against the Lions and a nail biter, and getting blown out by the Cardinals next week. They get the luxury of playing the 49ers next week, fresh out of loss. Richard, it could get ugly in LA. What is your concern level about the LA Rams?
9, Mitchell, 9. It's up there
because I don't think it's a 2.
I don't think it can be. It can't be, because losing one Pro Bowl receiver, you're like, well, we got the other, and then you lose both, and you're like, hey, we draft well, but nobody drafts that well. If somehow the Eagles lost AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, Mitchell, their concern level is up there too. They still got great O-line, they still got all this, but you lose a lot. And so to lose Puka Nacua coming off a great season that he had last year, to lose Cooper Kupp, as a leader and everything he's done in his past, that's going to be tough with the San Francisco 49ers coming into town. But these are always the scary games for me, Mitchell, because you should dominate. It should be a blowout, right?
Yep.
But you got to do it, Mitchell. And these are still NFL players, and Matthew Stafford is still at the helm. The old gunslinger who does not say die. As you know, watched him for a number of years. He does not say die. He does not. He's going to go out there with a bad O-line, young receivers, unproven receivers, and try to give San Francisco 49ers a run for their money. Now, should it be a really good game for San Francisco 49ers to get back on track and show their dominance, run Jordan Mason consistently, let Brock Purdy push the ball down the field a little bit? Yes. But for all intents and purposes, this should be a dominant performance for the San Francisco 49ers, and we should feel good going in. But this is the kind of trap game that you got to be careful with. And I know Kyle Shanahan is saying the exact same thing I'm saying, and so is Nick Sorensen. Like, hey, don't sleep on these dudes. Do not sleep. Do not sit there and say, oh man, we got this one in the bag, or feel comfortable. You should feel you shouldn't eat this week. You should starve yourselves, because you should feel ravenous. You should feel chomping at the bit to get to this game and to put on a show. Like, you should feel like, hey man, like desperate. They're going to play. The Rams have nothing to lose. They're going to play with desperation. They know, man, all their players are injured. The San Francisco 49ers have to play with the same desperation from everybody. You can't have the special team snafus that you did last week. You almost still won the game, but unnecessary. A block punt, come on. That's unacceptable. And then a muffed kick that we got back. But these are things you got to clean up. You can't have that championship team. But I'm not seeing this as a game that the Rams should win. The San Francisco 49ers should win this game, but
we shall see, Richard. It is the NFL. 3 teams this week that were touchdown or more underdogs. Well, one. I don't know when the last time that's happened in the NFL, but it was a wild one for underdogs this past week.